morning, Horry and Georgetown counties. We welcome you to Sound Off. Now, Sound Off is heard weekly on your favorite radio station. It is our goal at Sound Off to deal with topics that are relevant to you, the community, and always relevant to our young people. At Sound Off, we are really excited once again to have our very special friend, Detective Knox-Nesmith. Sound Off crew, let's give it up for our very special guest. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And as always, we'd like to introduce this very fine cast. Sound Off crew, would you like to introduce yourselves at this time?
Good morning, everyone. This is Avriel.
Good morning. This is Raekwon.
Good morning. It's Mercedes.
And again, Detective Nesmith, what have you been up to?
Working a lot of cases.
A lot of cases, keeping us safe in Horry County?
Trying to bring closure to some victims' families.
Okay, well, we really appreciate all that you do. And when I sit next to you, I feel really safe, if that really matters. It probably doesn't, right? But on the real, what we're going to talk about this morning, Sound Off crew, let's talk about prom. And, you know, you only go to prom, junior, senior prom. Some people, parents allow them to go like 9th grade, 10th grade, which, my opinion is I'm one of those old school parents. Go to your junior, senior prom. But it's prom season. We have spring break coming up. And so it's always good to have in the studio law enforcement so we could talk about prom safety, spring break safety, so we could keep our young people alive. Would you agree, Detective Nesmith?
Totally agree.
So the first thing, let's talk about, okay, we know a lot of parents allow their young people to spend maybe the weekend and in some cases the entire week at hotels during spring break. But I just, parent, when I was coming here, I told her what we were going to talk about, and she said, well, would you ask her to talk about if my child is staying in Myrtle Beach for the weekend and the police stop the car and one individual in the car is smoking or doing something illegal, how would that affect my child? So that's the very first thing. I want to honor the request of the parent, and I would like for you to answer that for us.
Okay. If your child or anyone basically gets stopped by the police, and for this example, that one person was, I'm guessing, smoking weed in the car or something illegal, if they're caught with it in possession, more than likely the police will go ahead and take that person. That person will either be issued a citation depending on the amount of narcotics that they have on them, or they can be arrested. If that person decides to throw it in the car somewhere and deny that it is theirs, then everyone in the car can be charged if no one will take responsibility for it. So the best advice that I can give to everyone listening, even if you're an adult, if you are in a car with someone and you are crazy enough to allow them to use narcotics, drink a beer, smoke some weed in the car, then be ready for the repercussions that come with it. It's your car, put them out. It's your company. If you're in the car with them, you have the option to get out of the car. But hopefully that person own up to it and take it and say it's mine and deal with the consequences.
Y'all heard that?
Yeah, I heard that.
In your car, Mercedes?
In my car, my father bought the car. The car is in his name because that's what he wanted to do, I guess, to have control over me. I'm not saying anything.
No, save money on insurance.
Save money on insurance, exactly. Quote unquote. Anywho, but I don't even allow my father to smoke cigarettes in my car because I can't even sound like I can't take the smell. So if anybody would even try to come in my car with alcohol, narcotics, I look, bruh. I don't even let my daddy smoke in here. You got a lot of nerve.
But you're not typical. That's not a typical
and
teenager,
that's a good thing.
though. You think the majority of teenagers feel that way?
I would say yeah. It's not too often that we run across, that one special person in the backseat. It does happen. It's not as frequently. What we do run in is once the car gets stopped, it gets thrown somewhere in the car, and then, the canine, which is our drug dog, alerts on the car, and then everybody's like, we don't know who it is. If nobody takes responsibility, everybody in the vicinity is going to carry that charge. So if it's a felony charge, you're going to eat it.
Prom weekend is bumping. So Ray and AVL and Mercedes, let's talk about, I know it's a lot of things that happen prom weekend, but what is one of the main disturbance or calls that law enforcement have to deal with during prom weekend?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be fights. It's going to be those alcohol-induced fights. It's going to be those mostly alcohol-related is what I'm pretty sure Myrtle Beach, Horry County is taking a hit on because we don't have prom in Conway. Right. And Aner. We all luck out that everyone holds their events at the beach. But pretty much a lot of it is going to be alcohol-related.
Okay. All right. What did you have, Ray?
All right, Detective Knox-Nesmith. My problem. I'm sorry, not problem. Question regards to parents who let their children actually stay on the beach for prom weekend. So what kind of advice would you give those parents?
My advice would be, first of all, as a parent, not to do it. But if you're going to allow your child to stay on the beach, the very first and most important thing is you need to talk to them. You need to express to them what your desires are, find out what theirs are, and meet in the middle, of course, in your favor. One thing that I would definitely recommend is check-in times. My mom, we were raised that way. When you got there, you called, hey, I'm here. Because, of course, we didn't have cell phones back then. Well, now everybody has cell phones. Send your parents a text message. I made it safe. When you leave, I'm about to leave. It's not about trying to control where you are. You should be responsible enough to let someone know where you are. I'm 35 years old. When I go out of town, we're hitting the road. When we get there, we made it safe. That way, if worst case scenario, something happened to me, they knew she made it safe. If y'all leave too much of an opening to where, well, he left the house at 6 o'clock and now it's the next day. It's too much time. At least we got check-in times. You both of you can sit down, say, okay, I need you midnight. I need to know where you are and that you're okay. All I need is a simple text. Mom, I'm okay. We're at the bowling alley or we're at this hotel. Because Brittany Drexel was real.
Prime example.
That's a very good example. She went missing right here in Myrtle Beach. So if that don't bring it home, I don't know how I can make it any better. That little girl has not been seen since. And just something small as a check-in time. Also make sure that they stay with somebody. Parents know where your children are, what hotel room they're in, what room they're in. Not just that they're on the beach with, so-and-so.
Right.
Know who they're with, where they're staying, what room they're staying in. And just to tell parents something that my mom did, she walked around the boulevard and she made it sound like she was there. I never saw her, but all my friends kept telling me, I saw your mom. Kept me in line. I knew better. I was like, she around here somewhere. But I mean, just definitely check in with your kids and have your kids check in with you, so at least you know at a certain point in time that they were safe and where they were.
And for the kids that are not really responsible, is it too lame for parents to maybe designate a responsible adult as a chaperone?
I would send an older sister, a brother, somebody that they would trust, that they wouldn't mind calling, because some parents, I understand, got jobs and they got to go to sleep and they don't have time for all that. Well, you got some people that stay up. There are always different ways to approach it that will be, that will fit your family, that will work. I would also, some kids want to be good.
Right.
They really honestly do. And I'm a firm believer in allowing that. And what they're recommending now is to come up with a code word for, Mom, I'm at a bad place. Come get me. Something simple as, Mom, you got to go work tomorrow. Then she knows once you said that phrase, something went wrong and I need to come get you. That way you don't feel like you're busting yourself out to your friends. You can save your face, but at the same time, this is wrong and I don't need to be here. Something bad is probably going to happen. So, come up with a code phrase, a code word. I would also implore parents to give your child the number of at least 3 reputable cab companies. That way, because they're all going to be busy, so they're going to need more than one. Provide them with at least $25 because it costs about that much to travel from Myrtle Beach to Conway. That's the average price. But give them that money. That way, if it goes bad, have those numbers in their phone so they don't have to try to remember them or Google them and go on the computer. That way, they can call if they need to leave. Even yourselves, you can do that just for yourselves. Everybody that's listening, hey, I need an out plan. Always have you an out plan. Know where you're going. What I was always taught, when you got to somewhere, you knew where the exits were. You knew whose house this was. If this was something that, this might go bad, let me leave.
That's right.
Right now, this day and age, everything that you do now can have a bad impact on you later. So it's time to be smart and not just be going into it like, woo, we're going to have fun. Have a plan. Where you're going to go, who's going to drive, where we're going to stay, how we're going to get there, and how we're going to get back. Because I've run across plenty of girls at these clubs out here on 544. We don't have a ride. We don't know how we getting back. Well, who'd you come with? I don't know. That's the wrong answer.
Wrong answer.
You need to know whose car you were in, because sometimes these girls are popping up at emergency rooms and not remembering anything that happened. I'm not going to sit here and be naive enough to believe that these teenagers are not going to drink. If you are going to drink, do not get behind the wheel of a car. Do not get in the car with somebody who is driving. you know, be safe about it because we want everybody to have fun and to
Right.
go home safe.
That's right. Prom is to have fun, not to do crazy stuff and
Exactly. That
end up
could
having people sad and
long consequences.
exactly. What did you have, Ariel?
Okay. Obviously, like a lot of like teenagers get approached by police officers on prom night. How would you recommend you conduct yourself if you are approached?
The very first thing I can tell you is mind your manners. Yeah.
Here's the manners.
If you get stopped by the police, the very first thing you need to do is pull the car over, turn off the radio, turn the interior lights on, and then be still. Don't be digging around trying to find anything in your purse. We don't know what you're looking for. So when I'm sitting in the back of that car and I'm seeing a bunch of movement, my automatic go-to is it's probably looking for a weapon. So just be still. Keep your hands where we can see them, and then just wait. Passengers, keep your mouth shut. The police is not there to talk to you. They're here to talk to the driver. And be calm and courteous. Tell them, be honest. Yeah, I ran a light. Yeah, I was speeding. I'm sorry. Sometimes a little bit of courtesy will extend a long way because we always get fussed at. So you're not giving us anything new. So give us something different. Say, okay, yeah, I did it. It's very refreshing to hear the truth. We hear all the excuses. I had to use the bathroom. I had to get here. I had to do. We hear them all. So I don't need another excuse. Just own up to it. If you get a ticket, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, and go on. You can always battle it out in court.
Wow. See, that's really good advice because I'm sure a young person listening now would have probably approached that very differently. Ray, that brings me to you.
Speaking of tickets,
Did you get one?
I've had two.
Oh, my goodness.
501. I think I was going 70 something. Speed limit was 50.
Yes, it is. As high as it is, right?
Yeah, and then the one time I was late to school, and I was going 48, but I was outside the school zone. But he told me I was inside the school zone, but I was really nice to him.
You still have to pay the ticket.
I really did. I paid everything.
School
Both of them.
zones are
I just
usually
wanted to share. I
zero
saw you in
tolerance.
court. I said hey to you. I was so excited. I was like, hey, Shell sister.
See, the same thing that happened with Ray was it wasn't that the thing that have happened to us is we were walking down the boulevard. It was last year. I was with a bunch of my friends. I was thinking, oh, I'm cool enough to go hang out with my friends down at the beach on spring break. So we walking down the boulevard. You know, one of the cops is late at night. We supposed to be at the hotel already. You know, whoop whoop, pull up. First thing my friend do, man, I can't believe this. I said, man, calm down, just calm down, chill. They was all like, man, no, I ain't talking to them. They kept walking. I said, oh Lord. So I stopped because hey, look, I got a fear of the cops. I stopped.
Using that manners.
I looked. I said, you come with me because I need somebody to be right here with me. And they was like, man, I don't want to talk to him. I said, I'll talk to him. I'm the youngest one. I was like, what, 16 or something? So yeah, I was 16. All of these grown people around me, I'm 16. Cops said, what are y'all doing? I said, we walking back to the room. Where your parents at? They live in Conway. What are y'all down here for? Spring break. Y'all better get back to that room. Okay, sir. We walked off. That's all he wanted to
Good
know
example.
is what we was doing.
That
Because
doesn't-
anything can happen. He didn't know what we was doing. They were all about it. If I would have let them talk, I would probably would have ended up in jail. That's the way my friends
And that would
is.
not
I
be a
have
good
no
look.
comment
The
on
way
that,
my
but
friends is, boy, oh Lord.
sometimes a little bit of
Respect and
respect
manners, right.
goes a long way. Sometimes we're just encountering just to make sure that y'all are okay.
And I'm glad you were with the Mercedes because you're right. You would be in the orange uniform with the mugshot. And I'll be like, not Mercedes. So that worked out really good. Once again, Horry and Georgetown counties, you're listening to Sound Off, and our very special guest, again, is our good friend, Detective Knox-Nesmith, and our topic is prom and spring break safety. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.